Hey everyone, it's Amanda. Today I'm going to be doing a recent reads video. Once again, I know I've been a little bit MIA, but I have good news. I'm engaged. Hello, beautiful. What I've been doing lately is stressing about that, even though like it's going to be in 2023 and like I don't need to worry about it yet, but I'm still doing everything in advance. And actually, I need to be doing that because of COVID weddings that are taking up all of 2022. So I've been having to plan things like 2 years in advance, actually. So I'm glad I'm getting a head start on it. But I should be back for weekly videos now. I'm going to be doing my recent reads today, and I have 6 books to talk about that were pretty good. Oh, and I forgot to say, this shirt is from Hello Lovely Box. I'm a rep for them, so if you're ever interested in anything in their shop, my code's Amanda15, and I love this shirt. It's one of my faves of theirs. I just paired it with like a skirt, and it's really cute, so check it out if you're interested. Let's get into the books. So first, I want to talk about the book that I've read most recently, and that is Rock, Paper, Scissors. This book is a thriller that's set in like an isolated snowy setting. We follow a husband and wife that are going to this chapel up in like Scotland, I think it is, and it's super snowy. They are in like this huge snowstorm. It's an abandoned chapel. They're like, are we in the right place? Because the wife got an email that she like won this kind of getaway up there in this weird little chapel house, and she thought it would save their marriage because they're having some troubles. He is a screenwriter and he's constantly always just MIA. He never really hangs out with her anymore. She feels like they are so distant. He's so into his work, and then he just feels that she's always nagging him, and it's just not going that well. But we also are seeing letters from the wife the entire book from every anniversary that they've had over the last 10 years. So you get to see like how that kind of resentment built and what secrets are they really hiding, because both of them are talking to you, the reader, and saying like, well, she doesn't know what kind of secrets I have, and then she's saying he doesn't know what I'm really doing here. So you're like on edge. You're thinking, what's gonna happen in this snowy chapel? It has a really good atmospheric setting, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 3.5. I'm not a huge fan of like writers or like movies and books type of thing, so I think that's probably why I didn't like love it. I didn't like fall in love with it, but I do think the twist was really fun. It was just a good atmospheric time, but it's not like a favorite thriller of mine. Just like middle of the road, maybe a little bit better than middle of the road. I think if you like thrillers and you read this in the winter, you're gonna really love it. Also, if you like domestic thrillers, like husband and wife situations where it's kind of like what kind of secrets are they hiding from each other, you're gonna love this. Like I would say this is similar to Pretty Little Wife, which was another book of the month pick way back. Next we have the Mindf series, which is a serial killer that is a woman, and she's out for revenge for something that happened during the past, and I won't spoil it because that's part of the story, but she is killing off these men that have haunted her past, and she gets kind of involved with a FBI agent that is on her case. I read this with Brynnan, and oh my god, it was so good. I really enjoyed it. I was kind of like, what is this even about? I had no idea it was about a serial killer at all. I just thought it was gonna be like this sexy time, but really it wasn't that steamy. I rated it only a 0.5 out of 3 on my steam level scale, so I know that's surprising considering the cover and the title. I think that the series is gonna get more steamy as it goes, but it's really focusing on this serial killer and the cases that the FBI is trying to solve, along with like her trying to not seem like she's a serial killer to him. She's trying to hide like this basement that she has in her house. It's crazy. It gets a little bit gory though, so do be warned about that, but it's only like a 90-page novella kind of thing, and there's like 6 books in the series or something. I'm definitely continuing. It was a fun time, and I rated it a 4 out of 5, so it was really good. Next, I picked up Amo Jones' Midnight Mayhem series. So I started with In Peace Lies Havoc, which was my favorite out of the 2. I rated the first one 4 stars. I really enjoyed the story between the 2 love interests. It was really dark and something that I haven't read before, just like Amo always gives, but I found that after reading a couple Amo books, her books are very like formulaic in a way, and I found that I can start predicting things based upon other books. Like I read Sicko first, so that one's like super wild, the twist is insane. So I was kind of looking for those kind of things to be happening in these ones, and I found that like that kind of hindered my experience. But if you're a new Emma Jones reader, I'm sure you'll love this so much. It was insane once again, and it has this kind of creepy carnival type feel where like there's also sex work going on in the carnival, and it's super steamy, like 3 out of 3 on the steam. And there's these guys that are super creepy, they're all together and they all have each other's backs. And then this girl, she gets kidnapped and she gets thrown into this carnival world. She's like, what's going on? Or not carnival, it's like a circus. So she gets thrown into this circus world and she's kind of like, what's going on? She doesn't really have her memories really. They have kind of magical powers in a way. It's kind of magical realism, dark romance. So if that seems interesting to you, definitely pick it up. It is so good. I love King so much. I thought I would like Killian's book, which is the next book, more, but I ended up liking King so much. He's such a villain and I love him. And the main girl was super fun to read about. That goes into the next book, which is Inferiorized Mischief. And that one I only rated 2 out of 5. It was so hard for me to get through. I think was the reason. I don't know if my headspace just wasn't ready for another ammo, like right back to back, but I just wasn't that into it this time. It felt very much like the first book, and I wanted some more flavor. I wanted some more originality to differentiate the 2 books, because it was just kind of like the same thing in my opinion, and I just wanted more from it. Killian felt like he kind of changed too from book 1 to book 2. I felt like it was kind of a different character we were reading about, so I wasn't sure if I was really into that. And then the main girl, I didn't really love her. It was still steamy, so if you like that, you'll definitely like this series. And my friends that have read this series like the second book more. So I'm in the minority here that like the first one, because everyone loves Killian. He's like the sweetheart of the group, as sweet as they can get. But no one can really crack open his shell because he's just so broken, is what the story kind of takes place as. He doesn't want to fall in love. He just doesn't do that. He doesn't do commitment. And that's basically all the guys. They all have like kind of tragic backstories, but he's kind of like the sweeter one in the first book. But in the second one, he really wasn't that sweet. So I was very confused. So I really had to grasp onto this new Killian in the second book. All right, next we have All Roads Lead Here. This was another Mariana Zapata read. I love Mariana Zapata so much, but this one was kind of not one of my favorites. I rated it a 3.5, so I still really loved it. It was just kind of too long for how much plot there actually was in it, if that makes sense. I read it with Sarah from Sarah's Shelves. We both felt a little similarly about it. So it was about Aurora, who was kind of lost after her breakup from this really popular singer-songwriter. She goes all the way back to her original hometown in Colorado, and she got this small little studio from online, and she gets there and the owner of the property is like, get the fuck out of my house. This is not for sale. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And actually his son had been the one who sold it to her, and he was just like this young kid. He really wanted to buy a guitar. He's like in this kind of band at school, and he really wants to buy this new guitar, so he put this property up for sale in like the garage of their property. And she's like, I really need a place to stay. Like, I can't leave. You have to let me just stay for a couple months, please. I will do anything. Just give me 1 month. Nothing else is available in town. This is my hometown. Please just let me stay here. So obviously this grumpy old man, Rhodes, lets her stay. It's kind of an age gap. I think it's about 10 years difference. He's, is he a state trooper or is he like a park ranger? I don't remember exactly what he was, but kind of like one of those two things. He kind of was the one who saved people when they were hiking and needed help or something like that. So I think it's like a park ranger, right? Or just like, I don't know. Anyway, he was a man in uniform, put it that way. So very, very good steam once the steam came. And I really liked their buildup of the relationship. I really, really did think that was solid. And the relationship between her and his son was also really well done. The Colorado atmosphere of this was really good. I always love Colorado in books, so that's exciting. I'm actually going to Colorado soon. to see my bro Alec and also just to explore a little bit. But yeah, can't wait for that. Rhodes and Aurora were super cute. There were times when he was standing up for her, but he knew that she could stand up for herself. And so he pushed her to do those things, and he didn't talk over her ever, which I really, really loved about it. He was just so respectful and let her be the strong woman that she was toward this ex. There's this whole story about her ex-husband and him just being annoying. He's always coming back into her life, trying to get her to write songs for him and stuff because she's like the writer of his music, and he's failing without her. So he's always bothering her, and she's like, bitch, get the fuck out of my life. You are not invited anymore. And Rhodes is also there, and I just loved it so much. I wanted more of like the hurt comfort trope. We actually got a decent chunk of hurt comfort though, so I really shouldn't be complaining. She's always hiking and getting herself into bad situations that he has to come save her and comfort her and stuff, and I just love that in books so much. So I loved that. I just, again, thought it was just a little bit too long with not a whole lot of plot going on. It had a lot of character development though, so if you like character-based stories, you're going to love this a lot. And there was the cutest camping scene I've ever read about in this, so if you like Colorado, definitely pick this up. It was so cute. Next, I picked up Heartbreak Warfare, and do I have it? Where is it? Where is it? I know I have it somewhere. This deserves to be held up. We have Heartbreak Warfare. Yes. Oh, okay, let me explain. Brynnan told me that this was one of her least favorite books ever. So I was like going into this thinking I'm gonna hate it, right? So like I already have that bias of me not wanting to read it really. I was like, okay, this is gonna be an interesting time, but I'm not gonna like it. And usually when I go into books thinking that, I usually have that bias and I usually don't like it because like if my friend didn't like it, I'm like, okay, we need to talk about this. We need to be on the same page, and I want to be on the same page with you, so I'm gonna be biased. But let me tell you, there was no way I couldn't love this book. I was enthralled in this. At first I was on board. I was like, okay, I see there's gonna be cheating involved. I'm not into it. I'm going to hate this. This is not good. And then I just started just devouring it. I think I read this in 2 hours, and that's insane to me because I don't read that fast, but holy cannoli, this was amazing, and you need to read it if you like traumatic books. If you like books with a lot of trigger warnings, this is for you. Dark romance, it has a lot of war, and it's really, really heartbreaking. So beware, there's like every trigger warning, but it was beautiful, heartbreaking, and it made me cry, just sob. Just sob. If I have a video of it still, of me sobbing after this, I'll insert it. But it was seriously so heartbreaking. We basically have kind of a love triangle going on, but not really. It's hard to put into words. It's like they go through the same thing together, and so they're so connected, but she also has a husband at home. So she gets drafted into the war again, and she has a son, and she has to go to war and leave her husband and son behind. Her husband's super kind, really great husband, and her son is also very cute. And then she goes into war. She meets this guy who likes to make jokes. He's like a player. He's all the things like she's ignoring, right? Like, it's just, he's this guy that's super into himself, and girls are into him, but like he's off limits because she has a husband. So they start forming like a friendship at first, and then it turns into something where they have so many traumatic things happen to them, like their friends dying and stuff like that in the war. There's so many traumatic scenes in here of the war, so definitely be aware of that, but you will see why they have such a deep connection. It's not something where it's not believable, and it's not something where you're gonna be upset with the girl. You're upset at first because she's kind of flirting in the beginning, and so you're like, okay, I see where this is going. This is gonna be a cheating story. Now I'm pissed. But it really makes you believe it. It was really believable is all I'm saying, because the war brought them together. And then she goes back to her husband, and things are hard because she's been through so much, and she's so traumatized, and she feels like she can't connect with him because he hasn't gone through the same things as her, and she's just going through so much post-traumatic stress and everything like that, and she feels like nobody can understand. She's just trying her best, and she's never succeeding, and her son needs her, and she's just not there for him because she can't she can't do it when she was kidnapped and all these horrible things happened to her. So he's really the only person who knows about that, and he was down there with her when these awful things happened. So obviously they have this deep connection, and that's kind of where it goes. But it's so full of angst. You know, Kate Stewart does it. You know, Kate Stewart does the angst. It is really heartbreaking. So you have to be in the right mood for this, but I think I was, and that was why it was such a good read. It was obviously 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it so much. Definitely recommend. So those are all the books that I read recently. I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, I hope you have a good day wherever you are, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.